Nature can be cruel. I came out the back door and there was a cicada sitting on that little ramp section next to the stairs, like the stringer. And when it saw me, it got startled and it slid all the way down and landed down at the bottom of the stairs. And I found him to pick him up because you might be just be able to see next to the recycling bin there's a big skink. I didn't want him getting the cicada, so I picked him up and he started crawling on my arm and that sort of stuff, and then he didn't want to get off my arm, and I brought him down here near the shed and I set him down on this little piece of timber. He was protected, thought he'll be out of the way, and then he flew off and started flying across the yard, and I went, oh, that's nice. Thought he was going to land in this tree in the middle of the yard, but he flew past it and kept flying, and then a magpie swooped out of the tree behind it and scooped it up. So, nature's like that, isn't it? I mean, cicadas don't have a long lifespan when they're out after they've pupated, but I feel bad about that. See that? Magpie just got another one. And starting to hear them calling. So it seems that it's not just a gradual slope, this is just a really poorly done slab in the bottom. There's like a big crack across the middle of the room. Well, there is close to a 3-inch difference between this end of the room and where the toilet is. In the very corner where the toilet is, it's just because the slabs slope down into the floor, into the wall. And you can see that when you've got everything pulled out, the slab doesn't sort of match the wall that well. It was just sort of, looks like it was just poured because this was a rough area. So I'm going around with the tape measure. The laser's set up here, again set to my previous measurement, so I've got the same measurement all the time. And I've gone around the room with the tape measure, just in random spots, especially where it looks like there might be a dip or a high spot, and just basically mapped out the floor. And you find that, like just there, it's a little bit lower. Then there's the crack, which is a raised up section. Then that's the same height, and then when you come across here, it's raised a little bit. So there's like a dip in the middle of the room, especially just here where I am. So what we're going to do is I'm going to screed this room ready for a lino floor, and leave the powder room section just a little bit, leave that separate, because that's going to have a wall and a door or anything, and that needs to be tiled, so it'll need a different prep anyway. So I can basically get this prepared. I've got to go and buy a stack of coarse sand to make my screed. I've got plenty of bags of cement to make my screed, but I don't have the coarse sand that I need, because you can't use sand and gravel because you can't get it thin enough with the gravel in it. So I've got to buy a stack of coarse sand. In order to do that, I need the trailer, and the trailer base has basically rusted out all around the edges now. I've got to cut that out and replace the base, otherwise even if I did put a tarp in there, there's no support around the edges of the trailer for putting that sort of, it'd be like half a ton of sand. This is just about ready, and today's a public holiday, which means like Bunnings will be open, but whereas where I want to buy the sand is pretty minimal, plus I can't go and get it. But if I get this trailer fixed, I can go get that tomorrow, get some bonding agent and do this screed, and I'll set up a board at each end to basically designate where the ends of the rooms, where the end of the screed has to go. That's a plan. Seems like I've got a little family of skinks here. I saw this little one this morning. I've seen one of the big ones the last few days. Didn't realise there was two. Taking solace in the shed. These two are being cautious. This guy's been a little gamer. He's just crawled around the side of the yard area to come and check me out. Trying to see what this guy will do. This one over here is now taking interest in what I'm doing. This one came running back past. This is where they hide out, under the slope just there. This one's the youngster. Kind of like that these guys have learnt to chill out around me, because I've never bothered them. So the older ones just tend to hang around. They'll freak out at first, especially if I don't see them straight away. But this one just sat there and let me walk past him, come in here. So they've gotten used to the fact that I'm not going to hurt them. Started pulling the trailer apart, just broken the rust as much as I can at the side. I've got to break this part apart, and I'll be flipping it up to try and cut through all the welds at the back. That was a long day that should have started a lot earlier. Got the trailer base cut out and all the edges basically ground out. There was a few spots. It was getting to the point where I realised I was running out of time, because the reason I was trying to get that all done is I want to go and pick up some sand so that I can do under the house. I need to do that screeding. So there's a few spots where I didn't grind out all of the old stuff that was around the edges. If it was really bad and rusty, that all came out. But there was a few parts where it was obviously welded in that I ground back as much as I could. So The timber's gone in and it's a bit crooked. One side, one of the middle ones, sort of crooked at the end. And the one on the other side, I've still got one to put in, but I need to trim that one down. As you can see, or you can't, but the fact that I've got this light on, it's dark out, 25 past 8. I worked as long as I could before the light disappeared. Having the workshop set up and the saw on that, the big drop slide sitting on that bench, I was able to just roll that halfway out. I mean, the back wheels are still in the shed. Set up a stand, and I was able to use that to trim the timber, which is good, because now it means like that's still, I've cleaned it off, but all I've got to do is weld that back in now. Had to change phones. I was using my old phone to do the video, and it filled up because I've used it for all the stuff I was doing up with the trailer. So the workshop is working. I'm liking it. This is going to go in there, but I'm still doing stuff here at the bench. Ended up welding in that little ribble across the back. That's worked really well for holding down the timber at each end of the trailer. I found one spot near the driver's side wheel well where the side had started to rust through, and I used a wire brush to get a lot of that out. But then when I was trying to spot weld that up, because it had broken through, and I saw one hole, and as I started to use the wire brush I got more holes. So as I was trying to weld that up, some of the holes were getting bigger because it was obviously so thin that nothing was working. So a few bits got patched up. There's a few bits that still aren't. Being that it's just a trailer, I might just put a bit of scrap metal on that, or I tried putting a bit in the back, but it wasn't the same because it was still just blowing the metal apart. One plank left to go in, and I deliberately cut that just a little bit wider than I needed, just in case I needed to finesse the fit. So that's the one thing I've still got to do, and I obviously can't do that tonight. Tomorrow I'll come out, I'll check the measurement on that, I'll rip that on the saw if I can, a little table saw, because I'm pretty sure it's a decent amount that needs to come off. And if it's not quite straight, then I'll get it down to close and then use the electric plane to plane that down. And once that's in, I can then drive down the hill to get some coarse sand so that I can do my screed mix. I've got enough cement bags, I just need the sand. So I'm going to work out the actual volume that I need tonight. I'll buy a half ton of sand, because that's what the trailer will take. That's all set out. I should be able to get a good screed in there. And I've got to get some bonding agent from Bunnings, because I don't believe I have any over there. That's all paints. I did have some Bondcrete, but not enough for what I need to do in there. This is good, because I had a little power board here where I rolled the saw out. I just plugged it into that, and the grinder, and yeah, this is working out well. Took the little light cover for the license plate on the back of the trailer, took it off so that I could, the intention was I thought I'd get the wire out and then take the whole back off the trailer. However, the trailer gate didn't come off its hinges. While this was sitting on the ground, I think I trod on it, and I cracked the little plastic front into 3 pieces. I have to see if I can either glue it back together so that it still shines enough light down onto the license plate, or see if I've got something to replace it. I've actually collected some extra stuff in here from cleaning up the study the other day. I had things in there. I've still got a couple of drawers in my desk that has tools and little bits of hardware for inside the house. I've got to get that out and sort it in over there. There's a few things I think I've got that I want to try and put up on eBay and sell and stuff. And there was a lot of electronic stuff that I hung on for no reason, so I've completely pulled all of that out. I've scrapped a lot of it, chucked a lot of the plastic, and collected all of the copper and stuff like that. Because as soon as I get that trailer fixed too, once I get the sand up here, the next thing will be to put the trailer base, the old one, into there, and all of the steel and stuff that I've collected, and get rid of that before the holiday's over. That's probably something that, I can organise that while the screed is drying. So I've just done maths, and for the laundry space, I think I need about bit over a quarter of a cubic metre of screed to try and just get that floor smooth and level so that we can put a flooring surface on it. I've got 6 bags of concrete, and I'm pretty sure the screed mix is 1 to 4 with coarse sand. If I go by the 6 bags, which are 20 kilos each, means 480 kilos of rough sand, roughly half a tonne, which is, I think, the minimum for ordering, but I could be wrong, because that's basically one scoop from their big front end loader is half a tonne. I'll finish the trailer in the morning. I'll go get the sand. I'll get the screeding done. I'll need to move the washer and the dryer and remove the tub from the laundry so that I can do all that. But that's what I'll endeavour to try and do tomorrow. So it looks like I've got a busy day tomorrow, probably the next day, and then I know we've got appointments the following day. So the next 2 days will be hectic.